Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosho, and this evening we'll be looking at the topic Lean HR Practices, and I'm very delighted, excited, happy to have to facilitate for us yet again Amanda Lambert Ototo, and I will read her profile very briefly. Amanda is the Group Head Human Resources at OCI Group, a diversified conglomerate with investments in oil and gas, hospitality, real estate, and agricultural sectors. She has worked in diverse management roles with extensive experience as human resource generalist, ISO 9001:2015 lead auditor, quality management system, and also ISO 22301:2019 Business Continuity Management System Auditor, demonstrating over 20 years of cross-functional expertise across various organizations. This combined experience makes her adept at aligning people, processes, and also performance systems to strategic goals, ensuring compliance and operational excellence. She holds an MBA from the University of Port Harcourt Business School in human resource and completed executive courses at Lagos Business School. She is an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, as well as the professional member of the Nigerian Institute of Management. Speaking to us this evening on the very timely topic, Lean HR Practice, let's welcome Amanda Lambert Ototo. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Oluyemi, and good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure being here again. I'm glad to be here, and I'm delighted to see us all here. Hoping that others will join us shortly. I believe that this is a webinar for HR practitioners. So I'm looking forward to very insightful engagement here. It's good that we share perspectives from wherever we're sitting, wherever, whatever organization you come from. All right, so let's share insight, let's share perspectives from our various sectors, our various industries and organizations, so that we live here better informed and armed to do HR business better. So once again, thank you, Dr. Oluyemi, for having me here. As we can see on the screen, the discussion before us tonight is Lean HR Practices. Lean HR Practices. Many years ago, when I joined the oil and gas industry, the servicing industry, there were certain terminologies, there were certain terms, some concepts that were commonly used. Then I used to hear things like Six Sigma. I used to hear things like Lean, Kaizen, all right? And they were terms that were mostly related. They were related to ISO-based quality management system. And fortunately, over time, I got involved in QMS. So I had the privilege of, understanding and even using these terms. So when I saw it, I just knew that it was something that would be nice for me to talk about. Yeah, so this evening we're looking at Lean HR practices. We'll start with an overview of Lean philosophy. We'll look at Lean HR. We'll talk about core objectives of Lean HR. We'll also attempt to identify some wastes, areas of waste in HR operations, and then how we can reduce the waste. And then we'll recommend some solutions to improve HR processes, and then we'll look at the game changer, and then we will conclude and be on our way. So overview of Lean philosophy. I said it's something that did not just start. It's something that has been around for a while. Lean philosophy, the concept of lean. It's originated from the Toyota Motor Corporation many years back. In fact, after World War II. You know, so after World War II, naturally, the aftermath of every war, you know, is usually a situation where you have scarce resources, where you have limited capital, where you have low demand for items and stuff like that. Yeah, so at the time, Japan and a few other countries were experiencing the scarcity. So a very common word, a very common concept then was lean. Let's operate lean. Let's minimize wastes. Let's see how we can speed up processes, you know, and all of those was so that they can maximize profits. All right, so that's how the lean philosophy came about. It's a management approach that focuses on how to increase the value that is provided to customers without taking away quality. How do we increase the value? How do we ensure that people get, how do we ensure that we maximize profits without reducing the quality of the services that we provide? How do we ensure that people get good quality? How do we ensure that we maximize the value that we give out to our customers without reducing quality and using fewer resources? That's what this concept is all about. You know, increasing the value that we give to people, the service delivery, increasing that service and ensuring that we do not take away from the quality, and then we're also using resources efficiently. That's what the lean philosophy is about. So every step of the way, a business would always ask itself, this activity, does it add value to the customer? If it doesn't add value, then it's considered a waste. It's considered a waste. That's essentially what the lean philosophy is about. Now, let's take it to HR. You know, when you hear of lean HR, you might be tempted to think it has to do with perhaps reducing HR operations and making it smaller. You may be tempted to think it has to do with reducing HR staff. You may be tempted to think it has to do with cutting costs. Well, these may be part of it. It's not entirely everything. We started earlier by saying that it's something that started from manufacturing shops. So you hear them on the shop floor talking about lean. But over time, over the years, it's a concept that other sectors have borrowed. So it's not something that is domiciled with the manufacturing sector only. Other sectors have borrowed it. So you would hear things like lean healthcare. You hear things like lean construction. You might even hear things like lean or agile IT. All right. So different sectors have borrowed it. And essentially what they do is the principles around lean, they apply it to their sector just to improve their service delivery. So when we talk about lean HR, we're talking about applying the same principles, you know, to the different HR processes, the HR function, talking about recruitment, talking about onboarding, talking about payroll, talking about performance management, all of the processes involved in the HR function. How do you apply this philosophy to it? The concept of lean, the principles of lean, maximizing value. That is essentially what lean HR is about. All right, so the objectives of lean HR would be what you see on the screen, namely reducing delays in HR service. Reducing delays in HR services. The HR services from the point that it is initiated to the point it is closed out. What amount of time is utilized handling that particular activity? It's very, very important. When you begin a recruitment process, for instance, how much time do you take in closing out that recruitment activity? Onboarding, for instance, how are we able to reduce the delays in HRO services such that we are efficient, we do not utilize so much time, such that it is effective, so that the end user is happy at the end of the day. Another objective is, how do we improve employee experience? I'm sure we understand that as HRO leaders, HRO practitioners, our internal customers, one of our key internal customers is the employee. So how do we ensure that they are satisfied? How do we ensure that they are not frustrated? How do we ensure that HRO activities, HRO processes do not frustrate, they don't feel frustrated dealing with the HRO department when they make requests, how long does it take for us to act on their request and ensure that they get value for what they have requested for? All right, increasing efficiency, I've explained that in passing. How do we eliminate those steps that are not value adding? Sometimes it could be layers of authority, for instance. Sometimes you find out that in certain organizations, the authority, the levels of approvals, they are so lengthy. They are so lengthy, and it takes away useful time. So how do we eliminate such steps such that the organization, the HR function is very agile, the HR function is very smart? And then how do we support organizational performance? Supporting organizational performance is something that should be at the heart of the HR department. Why? Because we are performance champions. We are performance champions. So supporting the organization so that it achieves its business goals is something that we should be concerned about, something that we should pay attention to. And what it means is that all of the things that we do within the HRO function should lead to the achievement of the goals of the business, the strategic goals of the business. We are part of those who set them. We should be part of those who drive them. We should be part of those who contribute, or we should be those who are part of those who contribute to the achievement of those business goals. Yeah. All right. So at this point, I'd like to request for contributions, comments from the floor. So if you're here and you're in the HR function, I'm sure that even without thinking deeply about it, you will be able to mention a few areas of wastages within the HR function. I'd like some contributions, please. Do we have people who want to talk about some wastages within the HR function? What are some of the things that, HR department engages in, and it's purely a time waster? Yes, I see Stella. Stella, please, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, Amanda, and good evening, everyone. This is a very interesting topic, and I have interest in it. Okay, I will just bring into the area of learning and development. Talking about lean management, also in the area of training, you notice that most of the trainings we do has a lot of waste in it when it has nothing to do with actually align with the business goals. So most of the trainings we do, since we don't have competency framework in place, we don't even know which trainings a staff or a worker supposed to attend to, and then we just throw. I call.
Wow, we've lost Stella.
Yes,
I think we've lost Stella.
Yeah, we lost our connection.
Yeah. We had signs actually when she was speaking that her connection wasn't very strong. All right.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, you're
So
back. All right.
yes, I was trying to talk of the shop floor workers from manufacturing setting. You notice that at the shop floor there are a lot of waste. So you notice that most of them don't undergo proper trainings, and you see materials being wasted, time loss, productivity loss on the shop floor. So this also has to do with the HR to ensure that training or coaching are being properly applied so that they can be able to close such gaps. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Stella. If I hear you well, you talked about trainings that do not properly align with business goals, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's one area of waste. Yes, Frank, thank you. Frank, you may have the floor, please. Frank, you may have the floor. Can you up your volume a bit?
Hello.
Is Frank there?
All
right. Any other? Hello?
Hello. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I think the area I want to come in is in recruitment. I work in the construction environment, and sometimes you find out that there are some recruitments that are requested for, and it's requested for in a haste. Now, when you're almost done with such recruitment, they now tell you that you put it on hold. And in some cases, they never come back to that recruitment. Now, one will wonder if the need for such recruitment were not there at the first instance. So situations like this waste resources. So this is also one way where waste occurs in HR operations. Now, we know that some of these recruitments are project-based in my own instance. Now, the question now is, does that mean that those needs were not there before such requests were made? Because most times you find out that when you're almost done with the recruitment process, they'll tell you to put it on hold. All resources involved are gone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can't agree less with you, Frank. Thank you so much. In fact, I recently experienced something like this. I encountered something like this in my business also. Yeah, so I work in a group of companies, and we have businesses at various locations. We have business units or SBUs. We call them SBUs at various locations. All right. So we got this request from one of the locations, in Delta States. And there was a long list of roles they needed filled, and approval was secured for those roles. Guess what? We engaged recruiting agencies, and 2 or 3 months into this recruitment activity, the hiring manager advised that we should put it on hold. And only 1 or 2 out of the lot was approved for us to progress with. That's a whole time waster. That's it. So I really understand what you're talking about. Thank you very much, Frank. There was one other hand.
Yes, that was me. Okay, can I go ahead?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, right. So Frank has talked about recruitment. I was going to mention that, but I also think that we also have wastages in performance management. Sometimes annual appraisals are only done just for compliance and not really to have a strategic
Benefit
objectives.
from it. Mm.
Exactly. Sometimes you can also look at payroll and compensation administration. If you run manual payroll, that is also a waste of time, actually, especially if you have large number of employees or staff. All right, you likely have some errors, and you go back trying to fix it over and over again. Unlike if it is automated. All right. Same goes for other things like leave administration. If you use largely paperwork, if your processes are not really automated, you're going to have a lot of wastages in manpower, in effort, and whatever, and you'll be highly prone to a lot of errors. I can go on and on, but let me stop there right now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Even though I can't see your name on the screen, I don't know why. But I agree with you totally. I do. I agree with you.
I am
Dr. Oluyemi. Sorry?
My name is Uncle K.
Uncle K. Thank you, Uncle K.
All right. Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Deoshun.
I have something to say, but also I want to mention that Nas, after my contribution, you can speak since you can't raise your hands. All right. So what I just want to add, something simple, but in my opinion and in my experience, it constitutes a huge chunk of waste, is meetings. And when I say meetings, I'm not saying that the meeting itself may not be unnecessary, but sometimes you realize that having everybody in a meeting from the beginning to the end of the meeting, there are pockets of waste. There are instances that maybe portions of the meeting you need certain people, and some other portions you need other people. But most organizations, what you will see is that they will bring like 10 people to the meeting, and then they will be in the meeting from 9 to 11. Some of the people there, they just need to have been informed that come by 10 o'clock, do portions of the meeting, get out by 10:20, and so on and so forth. Because what you will see is that they are distracted, they are ghosting, they are not contributing, they are not listening, and they are just wasting time. That's what I would like to say. All right. Other people are also adding things like meetings without proper agenda, or agenda that was not properly thought through or thought out. All right. With your permission, I would like to call Nas, and I step down. Thank you, ma'am. Nas, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, Doc. Thank you very much. Okay, so one of the ways that I think, please confirm you can hear me.
Very well.
All right, thank you. One of the wastes or many wastes that I think exist in the HR operation is I would say incorrect, like errors, like incorrect payroll errors. I know the last person that spoke, Mr. K, also mentioned manual processes, which would amount to which are prone to errors, and that means that there's going to be wastage in papers or resources, and then you have to like start maybe reprint.
Hello, did we lose her?
It's also a waste in reputation, because now there's a defect in the reputation of HR processes, and that also speaks to I think transparency and all of that. So that's also some sort of waste. And another one would be creating a lot of policies that no one actually reads. That's also a form of waste. So there are others. Let me speak on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Creating policies that have no alignment with business needs. There's no relationship. It doesn't solve any problem. Meetings is one huge thief of productive time. Productive business time. You just find out that sometimes in a day, it's from one meeting to the other. And truly, sometimes some of those meetings are avoidable. I mean, you don't need them. Sometimes they can be taken care of by exchanging, sharing a mail or something. So these are some activities within the HR function that are not very, very, very useful. I mean, they steal our time and make us appear unproductive. Paperwork, filing systems. There are some people that still do manual filing, hard copy filing. So for a second, imagine that you pick up the file of someone who has been in the system for 10 years, all right? And you want to go back to information of let's say 2015, for instance. Imagine how many pages backwards you would go. All right, that is a waste of time. Long recruitment cycle, somebody had talked about that. Reactive problem solving. As HR, you are in the system. You're not just HR, you're also an employee of that organization, and you understand the challenges. For instance, you understand issues around benefits, around remuneration, all right? And you're doing nothing about it. And then suddenly turnover rates, hikes up. And then you want to begin to counter offer of people who are already leaving the system. That's a reactive problem solving. And a lot of time it boomerangs, it works against us. So overcomplicated policy, somebody said something about that. And there's a whole lot. And one other one I think we need to pay attention to is surveys. Surveys for the sake of surveys, and not because you want to carry out any plan afterwards. You just want it to be on record that you undertook a survey, but there is clearly no plan, no plan to take care of the issues that have been highlighted. No resolutions, concerning the issues that have been flagged by staff members. That's another huge time waster. I'm glad that it's something that we all see in our processes. It's something that we see in the workplace. We're familiar with them. And that means that undertaking actions to resolve this shouldn't be a problem, because people would always say the quickest way to resolving issues is, first of all, to know what the issue is. So when you're able to identify the issue, you are midway gone into resolving it. So since we're all familiar with it, I think we have that responsibility of going back to our systems and ensuring that we do the right things, so that the HR department is presented as a real business partner that we're supposed to be. All right, so what are the strategies? Knowing all of these challenges, I'd like to open the floor again. What strategies can we deploy, in reducing or even eliminating these time wasters? These wastages, sorry, not just time. Knowing the challenges, knowing the wastages, what can we do within our systems? How can we tackle the challenge of wastages within our systems? Can anybody speak to that?
So if I can just contribute, in no particular order, I think it's very important to, one, understand the business strategy, the business objectives, the business goals, and how it affects all the stakeholders, regulators, shareholders, employees, vendors, and so on and so forth. Because if you are conscious of that, and every activity you are doing, every project, you can tie it to how it, communicates value, how it unlocks value, things like value creation, value enablement, value protection, and so on and so forth. So that kind of mindset, and then, other soft items like your vision, organizational mission, then the core values of the organization, then your strategic business objectives. All these things are tools that help you, because anything that is not directly significantly adding value to top line, bottom line is a waste at the end of the day. And some waste may not be obvious. So if something is suboptimal, it's also a waste. I hope you understand what I mean. If, for example, you are producing 50 instead of producing 100, that's a waste. So you have to make sure that you get things right the first time and you do it well. Let me stop at that. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. So understanding the strategy of the organization, the direction of the organization, the vision of the organization is one way that you can tackle the challenge of waste within the system. All right, I see EM. EM, let's hear from you.
Okay. Beautiful evening, everyone. Beautiful evening, Ma. Thank you for this session. Thank you, Dr. Oluyemi, also. Okay, for me, yes, wastage. Of course, you've mentioned meetings upon meetings, and a whole lot of the times, no head, no implementation. So, to curb wastage or time wasting in meeting is to, of course, ensure you have agenda, ensure you draft out the agenda, ensure you map out, you allocate time for each content in that agenda, and then there should be what's it called, what you want to achieve, the objective of that meeting at the end of the day, and then there should be timelines, for achieving all of what has been deliberated. So if you know that you have agenda and then you commit to the timing, the time allocated to each of the contents in the agenda, and then you know that you're also going to give account of what that meeting has birthed. Ultimately, of course, as Doctor said, communicating directly with the strategic objective of the organization, either for the year, either for the half year, or either for the quarter or for the month. That way it guides against us just, let's meet. And at the end of the day, we even deviate from the agenda, we deviate from the main reason why we're meeting, and then it leads on to something else and something else. So for me, agenda setting, time allocation, objective of each meeting, then appraise the outcome of each meeting by allocating turnaround time or timeline to achieve the objectives of the meeting. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add accountability also. So yeah, so allocate time and then settle parties for the outcomes of the meeting. And then there must be a way of accounting, for those responsibilities. How far gone are you in closing out action A, action B, action C? So it's not just about having meetings, but it's also about following up with action items that flowed out of that meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian. Uncle K.
Yeah, thank you for also giving me this opportunity again. Ian has talked about meetings, so I'm going to talk about what we mentioned earlier. Talking about recruitment, I think it's good to have time to hire, have a time frame for your recruitment. Know that you're going to start this and end this at so time, a time that works for you, that is realistic. Okay, that will help you not to waste time. We also talked about payroll. Okay, it's good to have automate it and then try and have some metrics to it. Look at what are the payroll error rates that you're having. Even if you are using manual, try and get what we call error rate and see how you can be improving on your error rate so that you won't be wasting time. As I said, for recruitment, you can even do things at the cost per hire. Look at how much this will cost you and all that. Basically, see how you can automate your process. That will help you avoid wastage, and then put some metrics in place. You know the popular saying that goes, what gets measured gets improved.
Cannot measure it, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be my take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle K. Thank you. Yeah, well said. Thank you, everyone. So in addition to what everybody has said, I'll just like to add that we should be able to do a mapping of our HR processes. What do I mean by mapping? We should be able to say, for this HRE activity, this is the start point, this is the end point, and this is how it flows. What's the workflow for that activity? So it starts with this, and it progresses to this, and it progresses to that, and having it highlighted, properly highlighted, is a way of helping you, to religiously follow those steps and ensuring that you don't deviate. Because when you do not have it highlighted that way, you might observe that sometimes you skip a process, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks into that activity, you realize, oh, a particular process was skipped, and then you want to go back to it. That way you see that you've lost time. Yeah, so mapping your HRE processes end to end is something that will help us to reduce waste. Somebody already said automating our processes. Yeah, and these days you have a lot of solutions, a lot of softwares, that can support us, no matter the size of your organization. I know that very big organizations use things like SAP, but there are smaller softwares that organizations can use. And the beautiful thing is that you can even, go for modules. Some of them are presented in modules. So you can go for modules that relate to the areas where you have challenges. All right. So just in case you're unable to take all of a particular software, you can actually pick a few modules, to take care of key HRE processes, yeah, so there are different solutions. Yesterday I was in class and somebody was talking about Bamboo, and I've never heard that. Somebody talked about Eddie or so, newer versions of these things. We're seeing them every day. So there are a lot. It's just for us to do that research, to identify what we really need for our organization and what serves the interest of that organization. But yeah, automating our processes is one way of reducing wastages. Having templates for the things that we do also will help to guide us. And then somebody mentioned measures. Yeah, metrics and the measurements for the different activities. So for instance, if you know that your onboarding time is supposed to be X amount of time, for instance, you are properly guided and you want to ensure that you keep to that time. Because at the end of the day, when you are being appraised, when your internal customer is appraising you, employees are appraising you, you don't want to get that backlash, all right? So having certain metrics, measurable ones, is something that will help you to reduce waste. And then, of course, reviewing our policies from time to time, regularly reviewing our policies to ensure that they are relevant at every point in time. So my organization we have an SBU, a business unit in Lagos. And some years back, because of the peculiarity of that, of Lagos, all right, hybrid kind of work was introduced for Lagos office alone, right? And we have this attendance policy that says, okay, we work Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And when that hybrid work was introduced, we didn't go back to the policies, to make that amendment. And then we now had an induction, an onboarding session, talking to new employees, and we realized that some provisions of that policy are actually obsolete. So what that means is that if we do not regularly review our policies, we'll find out that there are a lot of things that are present or that are there which shouldn't be there. So these are some strategies we can adopt in resolving wastages within our systems. Okay. Practical solutions. I think we've already talked about them. but specifically for recruitment, if we want to achieve lean recruitment, one of the things that I think we can do is manpower planning. Manpower planning is so very, very useful. In fact, we cannot overemphasize that. So at the beginning of the year, when the strategy of the organization is, when the organization arrives at the strategy, what direction they want to take, you develop your scorecard, your balanced scorecard. Part of what that document tells you is what kind of roles you may need to fill. All right. From that information, you can actually begin to do your manpower planning. You need to talk to the heads of the different business units to let you know, as HR leader, let you know what roles you are likely to fill, so that helps you to put together your manpower plan. And you may decide to do it on a quarterly basis. You might decide to do it every 6 months. You might decide to do it annually. But one of the things it does is that it does not put you, it helps you not to be in that position where you are reactive. It helps, it avoids or it averts that rushed kind of hiring. So you find out that with proper planning, you don't put yourself in that difficult situation where you have to rush, to do your sourcing and to fill up roles. So manpower planning is one thing that can help us to achieve lean recruitment. And then the other processes within recruitment, which is requisition and approval, and then you go in for your sourcing, you go in for your screening, and then eventually you do your offer. All right. So these are some practical ways that we can actually ensure that we reduce waste within our organizations. I think we have mentioned this already, but I just like to say that the place of technology cannot be overemphasized. The place of technology cannot be overemphasized. Every organization wants to see itself as an organization that is a modern organization, as one that adopts best practices. All right. So if you want to position your organization as such, then technology is something that you don't even have to negotiate with. So as HR leaders, as HR practitioners, technology. We cannot just say, we cannot overemphasize this. So it's important that we embrace it. It's important that we begin to introduce it into our systems, into our processes. And that is one clear way that we can avoid wastages within our system and be better positioned to serve the organization and serve the employees. Right. All right. So in closing, I don't know if anybody has any contribution at this point. Any points you would like to share?
I would just like to read out some points that people have shared in the chat, if you don't mind.
All right.
Okay, so I'll just take a few. Michael Olarewaju says, let us use data to remove low-value work. We should ask questions like, which reports are actually being used? Which meetings could be emails? Which HR tasks don't impact engagement or compliance? I think I found that fascinating. Ibrahim Aliyu, my brother, says have a timely agenda and work strictly within time. So it may mean you need to have like a timer in your meeting, somebody dedicated for that function, so that conversations don't just go on and on. Ibrahim Ali also mentioned here that one overlooked area of HR wastage is the ineffective use of training time. When employees are scheduled for training, but not given dedicated focus time, the investment in training is likely to be wasted with competing priorities and fatigue, and end-of-day training sessions often yield minimal retention and productivity, resulting in a poor return on investment. So I think one of the things it's trying to say that I pick is that, sometimes we assign employees to training, but we're still loading them with work. So they are neither here nor there. So today, in some of the places I facilitate, you see people with laptop actually treating work emails. you know. So you have paid for the training anyway, but you are not getting full value from it. Those are some of the ones I saw, and I said, let me just read out. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the organization invests in training, and then you do not even allow the employee to make the most of that training because of work distractions and all that. So that's is actually something that we also, as HR practitioners, we need to pay attention to. And sorry?
Turn off that
Somebody
light.
say something? Perhaps that's not for this meeting. All right. So I'll just like to close by saying that Lean HR is something that we cannot afford to adopt. We can't afford to ignore it. We cannot afford to ignore Lean HR. As champions of growth, as champions of culture, as champions of performance, I mean, it's something that we must embrace. We really must embrace Lean HR practices and begin to wage the war for, the organization, for that mindset that embraces it and actually does everything, to achieve Lean HR practices. By and large, we want to be seen as an organization that is agile. We want to be seen as an organization that is smart. We want to be seen as an organization that is fast, and provides real value. Therefore, we must, introduce, Lean practices and ensure that we provide services that are efficient and services that are effective. Yes, Victoria, I see your hand.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Victoria.
Yes, thank you for this section, ma'am. There is a question dropped on the hub. This same question I wanted to ask. So how do you manage time when it's the head that wastes time so much in meetings? Why this question it resonates with me is because there are some meetings that are not important. When I mean not important, they are saying things over and over again. And you find out that people are supposed to be working, but they find themselves hours in such a meeting without any benefit at the end of the day. And this is the founder holding such a meeting. And you ask yourself, what are you really doing here? There's no value for time. Yeah. So what do you do in such a case? Thank you.
Okay. So a meeting is convened probably by the head of business, the managing director, the general manager, a senior manager. And everything about the meeting is a waste of time. You're not deriving value from that meeting. And so many times, everything is written, they're just repeating points that have been stating and overstating issues. So what should you do? What should you do? That's the question. Can we get reactions to that, please?
Please, can I react to her question?
By all means, please.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. So where I work currently, the chairman, this is what really happens there. So what I did is I learned something from one of our mentors in the industry. He called that thing managing upwards. So when I noticed that, of course, it's the chairman that actually, champions this time wastage, in quotes. What I did was to go to him before the meeting, maybe days earlier, and then I drafted out an agenda and allocated time, and then to each of the things we wanted to talk about in the meeting. I haven't experienced some meetings. So I now told him, sir, I'd like to see you. And he said, okay. I said, sir, this meeting, can I draw up an agenda for it? And he told me yes. So I did. I went back to allocated time to each of them. I went back to him and said, sir, this is what I've done. I sent it to his email. Then I went with my laptop to say, sir, this is what I have done. And he said, okay, I should print it out. And then I was given the opportunity to be the moderator in quotes. This was a meeting with the chairman and some directors and the heads of department and the HR manager. So when it was time for the meeting, as the meeting was going, as I saw that he himself was, in his normal usual self, I just, respectfully raised up my hand, sir. We are pressed for time. We have exceeded. Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Overshot.
Okay, so I will summarize. And then because that's him, he in summary he's trying to summarize, but we're still waiting. Then I will respectfully again, sir. So you now said, oh, okay. Yes. So I've said that before. Then he will now say, oh, okay. Then he will now stop, and that helped the meeting to be more impactful and timely. So what I would suggest is before the meeting, you can help your MD, you can help your chairman, head of business, head of unit. Just go to him as if you want to help him, not you telling him that, oh, okay, you're wasting time. When he sees that you want to add value, you want to help organize and coordinate him for his efficiency, I'm sure that he will give you a listening ear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I wanted to say something, but I was raising my hand since it was not noticed. Permission, please.
Go ahead, please.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much. My name is Alhassan Usheni Jeremiah for such an insightful class. But for the time wasting, just like the last speaker just speak, what I did was to have one-on-one conversation with my MD and the GM that, oh, let us do it this way, let us do it that way. So I move ahead to employ a PA for them, and I sat the PA down, draft the JD myself, tell the PA what we need to speak in meeting, how we need to talk to your chairman, ensure that this meeting is time allotted, so there won't be waste of time. So during when we did that, the MD already know that during the meeting you say, oh, Hassan is here. I think my time is 10 minutes. My time is 5 minutes. I don't want Hassan to say, oh, I overshooted my time. So with that, it all help and it's working fine. Thank you.
All right. There's one very interesting point somebody dropped. I don't know why I just lost it. Dr. Oluyemi, you can help us read it. Somebody said something. How did I lose?
Okay, I see many interesting things. How do I know the one that is of particular interest?
Somebody said that can only work, or that would not work in a one-man business or something.
Okay, I'm trying to track it. I think I saw it. Someone here says it is difficult in a one-man business, especially in the FMCG industry. It takes the grace of God. Most time they take the stage and the meetings end up being a briefing. In other words, they're just speaking to or speaking at people instead of it being an exchange of ideas.
All right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Yes, sometimes dealing with founder
Owner manager. Yeah.
Founder managers, sometimes you have to really deal with personality issues, a lot of times, personality issues. In fact, was it Frank that said he went to him and, suggested for an agenda to be developed and all that and all that? There are some other GMDs, MDs that you may even approach that way, and they will get offended. They will get offended. Like, who are you? Are you the one to regulate? Do you understand? So I agree that in some settings, it might be difficult to get the MD or the GMD to align with you, when it comes to managing time in the meeting. But we can just, just do our best by making the suggestions. If it's taken, well and good. If it is not, well, perhaps, that probably that's not the kind of system that you need to be in.
So one more suggestion to undo that thing, in addition to what people have said, is that, and this is something I've tried before, and it can work. If you know the people who attend the meeting normally, calculate their salary per hour and then per minute. Calculate their salary per hour and per minute and say, oh, chairman, do you know that for every minute we are in a meeting, it is 132,000 naira? That information will jolt in. So
just rings
anytime
the bell in his head.
it will ring a bell. So anything we have to be reiterating the same thing is either that, God forbid, we have dumb employees or we are wasting the time of the employees. If we have dumb employees, God forbid, can we put in place performance to get them out so that people who will hear us one time and make the necessary adjustments? Okay. And another extra thing too is the minutes of the meeting. You know, it should be more like action points. And don't wait for the next meeting to follow up on the action point of the last meeting. Like midweek, send a meeting to say, everybody provide a status update. Copy all the stakeholders. If you do that, some of the updates, things will have been done, some things may be pending. By the time you get to the meeting, maybe if you had 9 items, 4 have been done, 5 are still pending, only those ones will require clarification. Just show the chairman or the MD that you are after their welfare. Last but not the least, if they are dealing with high blood pressure, those hypertension, those kind of things, come from the perspective of their health. All right. Thank you.
I like that one. All right. I think we can call it a day at this point. Thank you so very much.
There's a question. There's a question.
Please read the question. Please read out the question, please.
Okay, I think it says you are absolutely right. A survey without an action, I don't think, is that the one you're referring to?
That's why I said the person should read the question.
All right, let the person read that question, please. Was that Stella? Stella, can you read the question, please? The question
Yes, I'm trying to scroll. There's someone was trying to ask you what to do in terms of an organization where you can bring in a Chinese organization. I'm just trying to look up for that question because I found
Madam, that question is somewhat out of scope.
Abi, thank you.
It's out of scope.
Yes.
Okay, you saw it, eh?
Yes, I saw it. That's why I asked that. You know, it's out of scope, and I don't want to demonize any culture. No, we are ignoring the question. Today we are talking about lean HR practices.
Yes.
That question has nothing to do with lean. Do you understand what I mean? The person can ask the question on the
I was seeing another aspect of it. That was why, no problems.
You can tell us the aspects you want, but don't mention any tribe or culture, please. Or nationality.
Exactly. Yes.
No, you know we are global. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yes. Exactly. I wanted to correct that.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. Okay, so finally, I'll just like to close by saying that it rests on us as HRU practitioners to drive these lean HR practices in our organization. I'm sure I'm pleased that we are all abreast of them. There are things that we experience every day. There are things that we know about. So it behoves us to, put in the right practices to ensure that we make our organizations as agile as possible and value adding too. Let's take it to the point where HR activities and indeed all activities within the organization are value adding. Thank you very much. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for the honor and the privilege of speaking to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. This has been very exciting and very important topic because this is a topic that helps HR add significant value at the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that this session has been interactive and engaging from the beginning to the end. The only thing I'd like us to do now is to unmute and say thank you. Please, your gratitude must not be lean. This is the one time you are expected will be robust, generous with your gratitude. And we don't want to lean off with.
Thank you, Mao.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you very
Thank
much.
you. Please accept my request
Thank
on
you.
LinkedIn.
I
this
will.
chat.
Is that Stella?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will. I will.
All right.
Thank you,
All right. Thank
madam.
you so much.
Thank you and good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thank you, ma. Bye. Thank you, ma.